Welcome in Horns 2020 Nation to season 4, episode 10 with Zach and I here. For this episode, we'll be recapping the electric game in Starkville this past weekend where Texas overcame one of their largest comebacks since 2007. So we'll be going into the details on that, kind of what went wrong, what went right. We'll talk about some injury news. Arch Manning still under concussion protocol while Michael Taft is currently recovering from his hand surgery. Both are questionable to play this weekend, so we'll be talking a little bit about that. We got the Vanderbilt game going on this weekend. Texas's second top 10 opponent matchup this season, and also second in the second SEC top 10 opponent of the remaining three that they have this upcoming schedule. We'll be getting into our Diego Pavia hates, how we think he's overrated, and kind of go a little bit more into how the Texas defense can stop the Vanderbilt offense from exploding. And then, of course, we got offensive player of the game, defensive player of the game, score predictions. So stay tuned for that. After that, we'll be going a little bit deep into some college football playoff scenarios. There are a lot of outcomes right now. And I'm assuming things will start ironing out as the weeks go on. But yeah, there's some pretty scary nightmare scenarios for college football playoffs. So we'll be going through that. We got our Week 10 picks. We'll be going over our usual 3 picks each against the spread. So stay tuned for that. And then, yeah, we finally have we have a small basketball season preview for the men's team. So we'll be going through the roster, looking through some returning players as well as players that are coming into this team from head coach Sean Miller, kind of digging into his pipeline there. And then we have a little bit of news of Longhorns in the NFL. So stay tuned for that. We got a lot to unpack for this episode. But Zach, wanted to check up on you. How's life? Sorry, I know.
Life is good, AJ. That was a way to get my attention there. Life is good, AJ. It's been a busy week with work after a busy weekend and traveling, and coming off of that, like what you said, AJ, electric win on Saturday. But yeah, just happy to be recording again, AJ, on this fine Thursday night right before Halloween. AJ, how's this week been? What are your Halloween plans?
Yeah, happy Halloween to everybody, by the way. Yeah, week's been good. Super happy from the outcome this past weekend. I was kind of on the fence of us losing this game, so seeing us kind of take that out or leave Starkville with a W was awesome. But week's been pretty busy with work. Not gonna lie, it's been kind of stressful, but we're bouncing back, and we're here on Friday. So happy Halloween! Can't wait to trick or treat. But yeah, what was your other question? I'm sorry.
What are you doing for Halloween?
Oh, what am I doing for? So we actually have a date night tomorrow night with with Victoria. I've been promising her sushi. I didn't get her like a spooky basket or anything, so gotta like make up for it there. She really likes sushi, so yeah, gonna hit up Blue. What's it called? Blue Sushi Sake Grill. Not an ad. Yeah,
not an ad. Yeah, we don't do free promotions around here.
Yeah.
AJ, yeah, sushi. That's one that I don't participate in. If anybody knows me, so yeah, we'll stick with that.
Yeah, but as far as living life though, Zach, you still like to do some things raw, like down to the core.
There is only one thing that I love doing raw, but we'll save that for a rated R episode. Here on this fine Halloween night, we'll keep PJ-13.
Yeah. What about you, Zach? You got Halloween plans with Dana? Speaking of, happy belated birthday, Dana. Hope you had a great day. Heard you got the day off on your birthday too, so that's awesome to hear.
Yep, Dana did get the day off on Monday. Appreciate that, AJ. And we will actually be going to El Paso this weekend to celebrate her birthday a week late, but celebrate it there with the fam. Got a spot out at a park and jumping balloon reserved already, so we're gonna have a good time on Saturday night.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. She still likes trick or treating.
She does, AJ. She does. Yeah. Yeah. She's been like back and forth on the costume that she's gonna wear, so she's excited. We're gonna be flying into El Paso early enough so that she can go trick or treating. So we'll see how that looks.
Nice, nice. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear you guys are doing great. And yeah, sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. Safe travels.
Appreciate it.
All right, Zach. Let's knock out some volleyball news, volleyball soccer news. Believe we have some updates. So if you want to take the reins on volleyball real quick, and I'll take soccer.
Yeah, absolutely. So our Longhorns, everybody, are 18-0, so still undefeated on the season. 9-0 at home, 7-0 away, 2-0 on neutral sites, and 10-0 within the SEC conference, leading the way there. Since the last time that we spoke, our Longhorns have had 2 games. The first one being on Friday night, October 24th. They picked up the victory against Ole Miss at Ole Miss. So a huge victory there on the road. And then they continued their road trip on Sunday night, October 26th, or Sunday afternoon, I apologize, October 26th in Baton Rouge. And they picked up yet another sweep. So 3-0 victory there for the ladies. Strong performance and keeping our winning streak going. In terms of a look ahead here for everybody, we have another Cotton Holdings Lone Star Showdown matchup this Friday on Halloween night. So spooky hours there. Our ladies are continuing their road trip. They will be at College Station, and Texas A&M is actually ranked number 9. So we should be expecting at least a competitive matchup. But if I know our ladies well enough, it's going to be a clean sweep. So that's what I'm expecting there. But yeah, if anybody is available to go out and support the ladies at College Station, please do so. But if not, of course, you can go ahead and watch them again at 6:30 p.m. Central Time against Texas A&M on Halloween night.
Nice. So spooky showdown, only for the Aggies. Sounds like fun. Hey, got a nice weekend in Austin if you're a Texas fan. So yeah, shout out to our ladies. Let's get to 19-0 after tomorrow. As for soccer, Zach, this is the first sport of the 2025 athletic season that comes to an end. Texas, thankfully, actually finished their season with a W against Ole Miss, and I believe this game was senior night, and this was this past Sunday. Texas did win 2-0. However, their season is capped short as they missed the SEC soccer playoffs, where only the top 12 teams make the tournament. And then, from there on, how it goes, national tournament, all that stuff, or NCAA tournament. But yeah, just to recap the women's season, they finished 4-12-1 overall. Their conference record was 2-8, and they failed to sustain a winning record on our turf this season, which I believe is the first time it's happened past 4 years. I believe. Need to look into that, but I know at a minimum it's 4 years. But yeah, as far as standout players this season, Zach, we got Ava McDonald. She did pretty good as well, and that's about it. That's not really like much else to talk about this team, but yeah, that's as good as it gets. It's on to next season, and I believe the off-season chatter is Coach Ange Kelly's future with the Longhorns next season. So we'll keep you updated there, but things are not looking right. It's very, very down the path of Brian Kelly. I'd say that's the parallel 40 Acres is facing right now. I don't think there's any $1 million buyouts. So.
I was gonna say, is there a team meeting on Sunday night, AJ?
Yeah. Greg Abbott is not involved in the hiring of Texas's next soccer coach. Like LSU's Louisiana's governor is.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. We can probably get into that when we talk football. But yeah, as you said, AJ, tough season all around. It was a humbling season for sure. One that we haven't experienced in a while across any of our sports, to be completely honest. So the good news is the only way up from that, or the only way to go from here is up. at this point in time. So shout out to the ladies for just finishing out the season, still representing the Longhorns, and we'll see where we go next year.
Yeah, finish on a W though. So I guess that's something to look up at. Um, all right, Zach. So that is our sports on the 40 acres. Let's get into the down and dirty, and that is the Mississippi State game. So Texas in back-to-back weekends sneaks out of an SEC away game with a W. This time in Starkville, Mississippi. Texas finishes this game beating Mississippi State 45-38 off a go-ahead touchdown from our two transfers this offseason, Matthew Caldwell to Emmett Mosley. Play took some reviewing to confirm the call, but in the end, that's what happened. Texas did come back from a 17-point deficit, also answering our, I guess, providing 24 unanswered points to the Bulldogs, and that comes from a 38-21 deficit that Texas was facing. Zach, as far as comebacks, I don't know if I've seen Texas be able to do this in really like any recent years, even under I don't even know, under the Herman era, maybe we did, but
Yeah.
under the Sark era, I feel like this is something we don't really see, and I see it as a good sign of culture. Granted, I know it's Mississippi State, but they're still a respectable football team, whether you want to hear that from us or not. But yeah, Zach, I mean, as far as this win, how did it make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, you never want to be down 17 in the fourth quarter, and to a team like Mississippi State, as you said, AJ, they're not somebody that is also like. Let's also be clear, they're not somebody that is just an easy beats. They're not a FBS school by any means. They've been right there in pretty much all of their SEC games this year. But getting to the point of a comeback, as you said, AJ, ultimately I wasn't happy with the reason we got there. The first half, not even the first half, the second quarter and the third quarter were horrendous, and that's what put us in that hole. But as you said, AJ, I don't know if we've seen this characteristic from any Texas team in 10 plus years, as you were saying. The ability just to fight, the ability to get a crucial stop, and that was kind of a turning point there for me. I was at a wedding, so I wasn't watching the game completely, but Josh and I were keeping up, and we went down, or we scored, went down 10. Josh was like, "We have a chance," and I just kind of shook my head, like, I'm not going to get my hopes up. We kicked the field goal, we're down 7, still not getting my hopes up, and that punt return happens, and that's just, in years past, that just doesn't happen. In years past, you have the 3rd and 27 in LSU. In years past, you have Gunnar Stockton, for example, last year in the SEC championship game, just running it down our throats. You have penalties that sustain drives, and our defense played poorly, but as poorly as we've seen them in a couple of years, but really held it down throughout the entire fourth quarter to just give us a shot to get back in that game. It was the definition of Texas fight. And going into last week, I do remember mentioning on the episode, like, hopefully this is the turning point, right? Hopefully this is the turning point in our offense. Hopefully this is a turning point in our season. I didn't think it was going to come this way, AJ, but I firmly have to believe, and I think I'm part of the minority here, that if you're able to come back against any team by 17 points in the fourth quarter, it's a turning point for your team in the aspect of not unleashing the offense and the aspect of your defense fighting back after having a down game, and then the aspect, quite simply, of just adversity. That is the most adversity I think you could possibly face. Being down 17 on the road in a very hostile environment in a night game, and then your starting quarterback also goes out at the beginning of overtime. So just definition of adversity, definition of Texas fight, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with this victory.
Yeah, I know. It's like everything was kind of against us as the game progressed, and it just made the mountain to climb even harder than what it needed to be. But Zach, I want to get into things for this, and first thing is obviously the Texas offense. It seems that things kind of unloaded there, so I'll give my take. I want to hear yours. The other thing is the defense. Is this what post Michael Taft Texas defense looks like going forward? And last part is just Ryan Niblett just being able to save us these past 3 games. I mean, we gotta give our props there. But yeah, first thing is the Texas offense, Zach. One thing that I just kind of came down to the conclusion of this past game is that I feel like Sark is kind of allowing the opposing defense to dictate how we run our offense. And what I mean by that is that Sark is trying to beat the defense instead of letting the offense beat the defense. And yeah, for those first 3 quarters, that's where I kind of feel like we were just kind of taking what the defense is giving us, not really using our playmakers, not taking any deep shots. But once the deficit started and, points started racking up for Mississippi State, it just felt like the offense was unleashed. We were taking our deep shots. Sark was calling deep throws to Mosley, to Wingo. And yeah, it felt like this is the explosive offense that we had kind of anticipated heading into the season. So yeah, I wanted to see if you're kind of like on that same boat. Because yeah, I mean, for Arch, I mean, I don't know, like before this game, who thought like Arch should be throwing for 300 yards, multiple touchdowns, and yeah, coming out with a victory. Because I mean, this is like that was like the sign of a healthy offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It was definitely a breaking point for our offense, something we haven't seen in recent. I mean, pretty much all season. We haven't seen a performance like that all season. So it was definitely a welcome sight, in my opinion. But with that being said, I do agree with you in that sense, AJ, is that it hasn't felt like our game. It hasn't felt. I think the first time that it started feeling loose was Sam Houston State, where it would just do whatever we want to do, whether it was throw the deep ball, whether it was run the ball, whether it was screens and quick passes, RPOs. That's the first time that it looked real. In the fourth quarter, it loosened up. I will say that there is still a part of me, and we were texting on Saturday night, there is still a part of me that is hesitant to fully believe that this offense can produce at that level. There is still holes on the offensive line that is very clear. Also, being down 17 again, nobody wants to be in that position. And the same thing that we've complained about in terms of PK in the past, I think that's what Mississippi State fell victim to, is they fell back in coverage. Arch was no longer under pressure. We can give some of that credit to offensive line, but I do think they called off some of that pressure, just falling back and trying to prevent the big play, which they weren't successful at regardless. But yeah, I do think that we benefited off a soft coverage there on that end that we normally wouldn't be able to. So I will preface it with that. But what I will say is I was happy to see the quick pass game. And that's something that we've been asking for, is adjust as a play caller, as a coach, understand where your gaps are, understand where you're lacking, and the position that you're lacking in is on the offensive line ultimately. And with that being understood, is also understand that you are able to do other things to offset that. And one of those things being a quick short pass game rather than play action passes, rather than long developing routes down the field. Go with the short pass, and being able to have that first play being a quick hitter on a screen to Ryan Wingo was perfect. And I think that's what set the tone for this offense throughout the night. And that's something I hope is welcomed by Sark going forward. It was something that was key in his playbook before, so I don't understand why he wouldn't do it. But I do want to see more of that quick pass game. That's helps, for example, don't have a great offensive line. That's what results in Joe Burrow being hurt every single year. But how do they offset that with Joe Flacco now? They have a quick pass game. That ball is out within 1.6 seconds after the snap. That's something that we need to start doing again as an offense. So I was happy to see it there in parts of the game. We got away from it in the second and third quarter. That's where we struggled again. And then back in the fourth quarter, it started seeming like that ball was coming out pretty quickly from Arch. He was being decisive. So I hope that's the type of offense we play the rest of the year, because I do think that's where we can find our success.
Yeah, and there's I think I touched on that last episode, how Arch tends to succeed more when he gets the ball out of his hands quicker. And yeah, for there to be like a whole almost second average drop off per snap, or I guess per drop back this season, That's been hurting him. But yeah, I mean, this just all goes down to the fact that Sark just needs to let his guys do their thing, because I mean, like I said, I feel like he's letting the defense dictate how we run our offense when this offense is good enough to impose their will on anybody. And I hope it was a little bit of an awakening for him, and we'll see how that goes. Zach, another thing I want to talk about real quick is just Arch Manning's ability to deliver outside of the pocket. It's now like an every week thing where he scrambles out, makes a throw off platform. I mean, we saw the Zach Wilson throw, the Zach Wilson Pro Day throw from Arch to Wingo. I believe that was at the start of the fourth quarter. It was one of the bigger plays that kind of kick-started the comeback. But yeah, I mean, his ability to just move out of the pocket, and that's something I never saw from Quinn last year, where he's just poised, sets his feet, makes the throw, and just lets it rip. I mean, it just feels like those are his more accurate throws compared to just the throws where he just stands in the pocket and just delivers it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that one, AJ. And that's something actually credit to you. You've called that since last year when there was controversy with Arch, or controversy between Arch and Quinn, that you thought Arch might have a little bit more success behind the offensive line because of his ability to move. Again, AJ, there was aspects of this game that I hope Sark goes back, watches the film, and reflects on, and that he put Arch for the first time this season, honestly, in positions to succeed. He put him in a quick pass game where, again, it's not really anticipation. It's just quick, let it out of your hand. He is very accurate when he's able to do so. And then also moving the pocket or just allowing him to play his game. When you look at offenses like there was a report on the Chiefs this past week that people are I forgot who said it, but they were asking, they were saying, I don't even think they actually call plays. I think they just get in the huddle and say, just get open, and Mahomes finds it. I honestly think that Arch sometimes plays better in that aspect, where a play breaks down, he's just looking for someone. We saw that results in a touchdown against, who was it, Oklahoma, to Moore in the back of the end zone. A play breaks down, and it was kind of like, let's just get open, and I'm going to scramble so I can find somebody. It does seem like that's where he's able to succeed, rolling out of the pocket, throwing on the move. So again, there is aspects of this game that I hope the offense takes away from in terms of success, because I still don't think we could just drop back and pass and sit in the pocket, because that's just not one of our strengths this year.
Yeah, like Arch is just not meant to be a system quarterback. He just has too much IQ or he has a very high IQ, to where if he's able to make plays out of structure, and that's where you gotta give him his credit there. But yeah, silencing the haters week after week, and yeah, he's looking good. He was also the highest rated Longhorn per PFF. He was at 79.4, which is still, I mean, it's good, not great, but yeah, that just shows his impact. Unfortunately, though, Zach, he did leave the game in the fourth quarter with a concussion, and it was a pretty dirty hit. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I know like it didn't really look intentional in a way, but it still could have been prevented. And yeah, Arch took the concussion, looked very woozy once he got up, and that called for, no pun intended, that called for Matthew Caldwell to come in and just deliver the last second touchdown. So real quick, I just want to give like a quick, I guess, I just want to give my kudos to Sark and his talent evaluation, because, I mean, the offensive additions that we added via the transfer portal, they've just been killing it. I mean, Matthew Caldwell to Emmett Mosley, logistically, you can look back at it and say that touchdown couldn't have happened if it weren't for us, just digging our hands a little bit in the transfer portal. So shout out to that, because that was one of the most crucial plays of the game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one.
Yep. All right, Zach. Next topic. Wanted to get into the defense. So Texas allowed 382 yards of passing offense. They did tend to kind of, I mean, I wouldn't really say it was domination on the ground, because stat sheet shows that Mississippi State went 43 for 63, but that's due to negative 39 yards for Blake Shapen. But Devon Booth led the Bulldogs with 24 carries, 99 yards. And yeah, it just kind of felt like things were kind of slipping away from us because the defense was allowing this. We saw Brendan Thompson kind of erupt a little bit. He went 6 for 76 and 2 touchdowns. And yeah, Zach, I wanted to ask you: is this kind of like where this team is headed if they don't have Michael Taft, or do you see this as like as just a better opportunity for the team to bounce back next game against Vanderbilt?
AJ, I'm going to say this. I am concerned about our defense. I do think we have some of the best players in the nation, without a doubt. I do think Michael Taft does leave a big hole, so I'm going to say that as a pre-caveat. But what I will say is that even though this was the biggest result, this wasn't the first time we've seen our defense struggle. Like, if we're being realistic, they struggled against Florida. Like, Florida ran, I think it was 4.5 yards per carry. And then that opened up the pass game, and a freshman wide receiver was just able to demolish us in that Florida game. And we weren't able to get a stop in the fourth quarter, similar to what we did this past Saturday. And that was the first faultiness of our defense. The second time that we see it faulty was, I mean, you called it, AJ. Kentucky, if they have a better quarterback, could have really capitalized on a lot of our defensive mistakes. And Connor Blomey at the end of the day, like, had some pretty good stats, but by any other average quarterback, we could have been in some deep trouble there if he was able to take advantage of the true openings that were there against our defense. This is now the third time in in 4 SEC games that our defense honestly has struggled. So I'm starting to see a little bit of a pattern. I'm starting to become a little bit concerned. I think our front line is still tremendous. I still think our pass rush is tremendous. But I do think we have a leaky wheel in terms of the secondary. I do think the most disappointing player on our defense, honestly, this year has been Gilbo. I was hoping for a bigger season from him returning, playing with the secondary members that he's played with over the past couple of years, and he just has underperformed. He either gets burnt or draws a penalty. It's been a underwhelming performance from him, and I do think he is a weak spot on our defense. And then sometimes our linebackers just struggle to hit the hole, to be completely honest with you, and it leaves some nice gashes for us, or for the opposite running game. So I am a little bit concerned, AJ. I still think we have the talent to do so, but I do think we need to look at our defense a little bit more closely to be competitive in these next few weeks, that we have some big weeks coming up.
Yeah. In terms of our rushing defense, I mean, that is stellar, out of this world. But yeah, I mean, I have a theory that just Jeff Lebby, he just has our number. He knows exactly how to beat us. I don't know like how he does it, but yeah, it's every time we play him, he just knows about the right play to call. But yeah, I mean, that passing defense, that was unacceptable. I mean, Blake Shapen, veteran quarterback, but still shouldn't be dicing us up like he did. Even Connor Blomey, really. But yeah, I think also what woke up our defense, Zach, when Mississippi State started throwing those horns down. It was very early in the game. That
happened. Their tight end, Spencer Traore, I saw him on, I want to say, the last touchdown that they scored, throw them down.
Yeah.
And I think, that really awoke in everybody. We also got a Anthony Hill sighting. He got his first 2 sacks of the season there, AJ. So again, defense stepped up in the fourth quarter, and that's the defense I hope we get to see the rest of the year, because they were tremendous. It wasn't like Mississippi State started settling and trying to run the ball. They were absolutely still trying to put points up on the board, and our defense just was nails throughout that entire last 7-8 minutes, because they still scored at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But last 7-8 minutes, 3 big stops. So you have to give props there where they're due. And I will, because they stepped up big, and the biggest portion of that was definitely Anthony Hill and a little bit of Colin Simmons in there.
Yep. They were the guys that led the charge. All right. So as far as final stats, Arch Manning finishes the game 29-46 with 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown, including 1 interception. Matthew Caldwell, perfect quarterback rating. For the week, I believe, top rated quarterback in the SEC, going 1 for 1, 10 yards and a touchdown. So shout out to him. As far as our rushing game, Zach, still looking kind of ugly. Wisner and Baxter combined for 21 carries and 68 yards. That's less than 3.5 yards per carry. Again, it seems like we can't wake up there. Receiving game, Ryan Wingo's career high receiving yards occurred this past weekend. He went 5 for 184. No touchdowns. He had a few drops that were quite drive killing. Emmett Mosley finally woke up, went 4 for 53 and 2 touchdowns, including the go-ahead game-winning touchdown in overtime. And Parker Livingston, Zach, he's got amazing hands. 4 for 22, 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns in very, very critical moments of the game. So I like the way he's looking. I don't know.
I agree with you, AJ. We have the wide receiver room. Like, we really do. When CJ Baxter finally gets healthy, we have the weapons to make the run that we want to make. It's just about holding up front, to be completely honest. As you said, finally get the showing from Emmett Mosley that we were all expecting since the moment he arrived on campus. Parker Livingston has to be the most underrated wide receiver in the nation, to be honest, in terms of speed, in terms of hands, in terms of toughness, even after the hit that he took just a couple weeks ago as well. So he's showing out. I'm very excited to have him in the program for the next couple of years. I love the way the offense played this week, especially there in that fourth quarter. And enough hasn't been said, AJ, or maybe it has, and I just haven't seen it. But for Matthew Caldwell to step up there at the end of the game, AJ, I don't know if I could have done it. I don't know how many people could truly have done what he did in terms of just a dime. But on top of that, and maybe people have already heard of this, but he audibled that play call, like the sack that he has on him to come into the game cold, to audible a play call that Sark has put out there for yourself. And he quite literally like stops Emmett Mosley. It wasn't even just like an audible at the line. He like quite literally stops him while he's in motion to give him this audible. I mean, that tells you that he was mentally prepared for the situation. He knew what he was looking for, and it wasn't something of a fluke. It was definitely what he intended to happen on that play. So you have to give it to him, honestly. A legend was born that night, even if that is the last throw we see of him all season or of his career in a Texas Longhorn. He is forever a Texas Longhorn legend just for that audible and that throw in itself. But who knows? Maybe we see him this Saturday. But yeah, we definitely got to give him his flowers because that kept our playoff hopes alive ultimately.
Yeah. Fourth year grad transfer from Troy. Proven starter, and decides to come to Texas, sit behind Arch Manning. That takes quite a few leadership cojones to do. So yeah, Matthew Caldwell coming in. Love to see that. And then real quick, Zach, just to cover on the defense, we had 7 sacks, 9 tackles for losses, 2 pass deflections, and 1 recovered fumble. Leading the team in tackles was Jelani McDonald with 14, followed by Anthony Hill with 10. Anthony Hill also had 2.5 sacks in this game. Colin Simmons, no sacks or tackles for loss. However, we had some other big pickups by Alex January, Hero Canoe. Real quick, just that Hero Canoe tackle for loss on the, I think it was 3rd and goal that led to the 4th and goal touchdown, where he freaking blows up the running back and then takes a sack too. That made me want to run through a brick wall. I had to shout him out on that real quick because that was crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as I mentioned, Arch Manning left the game with a concussion. He is questionable to return this weekend. All signs are pointing to him playing, though. He's currently around the 4th or 5th step of the concussion protocol, so we'll see where things go there. Michael Taft, also questionable for the game. Pretty surprising to see him on the injury report, given that he had a surgery completed last week. And then Cole Hudson, he's also questionable, or he's actually probable on the injury report. So there's a good chance we might get him back this weekend. And yeah, this will be one of the more important games where we do need Cole Hudson. So yeah, so we were struck a little bit leaving Starkville, but I think we'll be fine.
And as you said, AJ, like, it wasn't a game that we went in there just fully equipped. Cole Hudson, that's a center again. We said it last week, is the leader of your offense or your offensive line. No matter what his experience level is at, that's who your leader is in the center. So having him probable for this week, very exciting. As you said, Arch leaving there in the overtime, that's tough for any situation. Matthew Caldwell stay was there, and obviously our running back room. I mean, Wisner, I guess you could say he's healthy, but CJ Baxter still at 100%. That's also a huge one. And then obviously the lead and Michael Taft being out. So those are three big pieces there. Hopefully we have them all back this week, but yeah, we'll see.
Yep. So still playoff chances are alive, Zach. And it all comes down. I mean, we're gonna say this every week, but it all comes down to this the next game. The next game will always be the most important game, and that is this weekend. Vanderbilt is coming over to Austin. Zach, let's dive a little deep into what Vanderbilt's got. I see you have some notes if you wanna go ahead and take those.
Yeah. So again, as you said, AJ, Vanderbilt coming into Austin. Vanderbilt comes into Austin ranked number 9 in the nation according to the AP poll. They are sitting at 7-1. Last year, if you recall, we did take the trip up to Vandy. That result in that game was Texas winning the game 27-24. I want to say that game was later, November, but I might be recalling incorrectly there. The stat leaders this year, though, for Vanderbilt is that overrated passer that we were talking about, Diego Pavia, who is all talk, no talent. He has 1,698 yards passing on the season, 15 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He also leads the way for Vanderbilt in terms of rushing yards. He has 458 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns on the ground. Their actual running back leader, though, is Cedric Alexander, and that is he has 388 yards rushing on the season for 6 touchdowns. And then you also have their leading wide receiver, which is their tight end, and that is Stowers, and he has 397 yards passing or receiving on the season. I apologize, and 2 touchdowns.
Can you hear me? Sorry, my message just dropped on me.
I marked where I was at, so I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I just take it from there. I'm all good. Yeah, I'm all good.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And that so I'm going to start here, actually. Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1. And that pretty much wraps it up for the offensive end there. So again, Stowers is their leading receiver, and that is actually their tight end. He came over with Pavia from NMSU, so that is also something to note, that they do have that connection there. In terms on the defensive side, not many stats here to just go ahead and provide. However, if we want to talk about what maybe the strength is in Vanderbilt this year, it is not their overrated quarterback, AJ. I just don't think enough people talk about the pressure that they're able to put on quarterbacks on the defensive side. They were able to recruit pretty highly. They are starting to recruit pretty highly. So again, I do think, and we'll talk about this here shortly, AJ, I want to get your opinion on it. But for all the hype that Pavia is getting, he is a Johnny Manziel without the talent, in my opinion. And they're also close buddies there. I do think their head coach deserves more of the credit than what Pavia is getting. Pavia wants to be part of the Heisman Trophy conversation. There is people throughout the nation that want to put him in that conversation. Yet they took out Arch of that conversation in the first week. Arch has just as many touchdowns as Pavia, and obviously has left the game injured. He has more completions than Pavia, and as well as more passing yards, and he eclipses Pavia by over 100 yards passing as well. So if we really want to talk about Heisman, if you really want to look at the biases that we've seen across the SEC, network and teams, there is no way Diego Pavia is anywhere close to a Heisman conversation if we're really putting in perspective. And I'm okay saying that Arch doesn't belong in the Heisman conversation because he does not. But with that being said, Diego Pavia is not even close. He's below Arch Manning in my opinion, and that's where he needs to be put. He is just all hype. He is just all talk. And again, in my opinion, he is Johnny Manziel without the talent.
Yeah. You know what, Zach? It just comes from. I think it just comes from the overvalued wins that they're giving Vanderbilt. So LSU, Missouri. I mean, looking back at it retrospectively, like those wins really don't mean anything right now. And when the end of the season comes along, we're gonna look at those wins and be like, okay, well, the signs were there. Vanderbilt is not really a good team. They haven't beaten anybody, and I feel like this will be Vanderbilt's second true test. We saw how they performed against Alabama, lost by, I believe, 3 possessions. I think they lost by 17. Yeah, so yeah, I think once we see Diego Pavia play against true competition with elite talent on the other side of him, we're going to see him struggle a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm banking on for this Vanderbilt team this weekend. But yeah, the hype on Diego Pavia is once again just SEC propaganda, propping up its players just a little too much. And yeah, I wouldn't even consider him the 5th best quarterback. Yeah, I don't even. Yeah,
he's not top 5 for sure.
He's
to
put
that into perspective, AJ, like you talked about, and I couldn't have said it better than you. So I'm going to say that is the overvalue wins that Vanderbilt has had. And I was looking at this before we started recording. You talked about the 2 main games that I'm looking at there as well. That's Vanderbilt Missouri game that just happened last week. Vanderbilt does literally nothing on offense. Pavia throws for, I think, 160 and an interception. That's his stat line. I don't know what Heisman winner has ever had a stat, or 129 actually, and an interception. 10 for 19 passing. I don't know what Heisman Trophy winner has ever had that type of stat line and gone on to even be in New York, for that matter. Against that Missouri defense, who Ty Simpson, a good quarterback, throws for 203 touchdowns against, only has 8 incompletions while facing them. You want to look at a Big 12 quarterback. You had Jalen Daniels, who faced that team. He put up 31 points against Missouri earlier in the year. He had 223 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. So there's evidence of this. You have South Carolina, who's been piss poor, honestly, compared to what they were supposed to. And you have Lenore Sellers, who isn't a notoriously good thrower of the football. He is more of a runner. He threw for 302 yards against Missouri's defense and had 2 touchdowns. So again,
I didn't know that.
There is nothing that really shows out for Vanderbilt here. As you said, LSU, the wheels have completely fallen off. The signs were there from the beginning of the season that they just weren't a good team. And Vanderbilt wins by 7 there. And they allowed 24 points to LSU, whose offense looked absolutely horrendous against Texas A&M this past weekend. So yeah, I really don't see it, to be completely honest with you. I do think that we are rightfully favored and our spread has gone up, and we'll talk about that here shortly. And I do think that our defensive line will be able to get after Pavia, and as long as we shut down the run, and just make them one-dimensional, I do think this is a game that we could take advantage of here, EJ.
Yeah. That's one thing I wanted to get on, Zach, is that Vanderbilt finds a lot of success, kind of similar to how we do with a lot of outside zone runs, a lot of runs up the middle. What else? A lot of like pull blocking and all that. And thankfully, that is Texas's strength on their run defense, is they're able to kind of shut that down. So anything like up the middle, run to the outside, that's where Texas excels. And we saw a little bit of that with Missouri last weekend. That's why they weren't really able to get things going really against Vanderbilt. But I'm sorry, that's why Vanderbilt wasn't able to get things going against Missouri. And yeah, if PK could just take a little note off that playbook and find a way how to stop them like that, I wouldn't be surprised, because yeah, turning them one-dimensional, having to rely on Diego Pavia's arm, which there's a little bit of talent there, but he's not good enough to I guess beat a team on his own.
There's a reason.
If I could just put it in,
he's pretty much our age, AJ. This is his 9th year in college.
Yeah,
there's a reason he has to get a waiver. At this point in time, he just doesn't have the talent. He's still in college for a reason. He's still trying to get his last paycheck that he could possibly get, and that's why he does what he does.
His lawyer's applying for one more year.
Yeah, I saw that, and then he shot it down. But he's firmly
He
behind
wants
it
it.
behind the scenes, 100%. If not, you'll be seeing him in the flag football league on Sundays in El Paso. But yeah, I don't know, AJ. Truthfully, and this might come back and just bite me in the ass because I should not be as confident as I am in the Longhorns this season. But I am more confident in this game and us pulling out the victory than what I was going into Starkville last week. I'm going to just be completely honest with you.
Wait, so again, you're more confident into this game? Okay. Yeah,
I'm more confident in us picking up this victory at home, even if we're just a 3.5-point favorite, even if Vanderbilt is number 9 in the nation. I'm more confident us picking up this victory than what I was going into Starkville last week. That's where I stand.
Okay. Yeah. I'd say I'm not. Actually, yeah, I'm a little more confident too. I wouldn't say by much though. But one thing that gives me hope is that like a lot of the public is on Vanderbilt and they think they're just going to steamroll us in Austin.
Yeah.
I please keep that chatter going. Because yeah, I think, like I said, still not really scared of Vanderbilt. Yeah, I don't think they really have much to prove. There was other thing I was going to say. Oh yeah, that when Vanderbilt beat LSU, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, damn, is Vanderbilt for real? Like they might be good. Good thing I never said that, but that was just intrusive thought. Didn't air that out anywhere. Because yeah, I mean, Pavia was just running over all of them, and now looking back at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, LSU. It's just not a good defense at all. I mean, for A&M to put up 40 something.
Yeah, I mean, that was A&M's a good offense, but for Pavia to again like seeing the Missouri game, I think it's the Missouri game that's really selling me on this idea that I have. They played piss poor, and if they come into Austin even looking remotely like that, we should be able to run away with this game, even if our offense doesn't have the game that we're hoping for, even if they don't look like what they looked like in the fourth quarter of the Mississippi State game. We should be able to do enough to just capitalize and win this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too, Zach.
Really quickly, AJ.
Go for it.
Before we jump into our standard business as usual offense player game, defense player game, score prediction, you want to play a little game of decoy or nots with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
So this idea came to me because of Diablito. He had texted us earlier saying he believes somebody on our team is a decoy. So I'm going to start with that question, AJ. Do you believe Arch, or the idea of Arch playing this weekend because he's been practicing, is a decoy or not?
No. I refuse to believe we're in that sort of part of it in our season where we're able to kind of trick the preparedness of the opposing team. Because right now, Zach, we're a winner. Like we need to win every single game from here on out.
Yeah.
And for Arch to be sitting out, or for Arch to be like practicing, it's clearly showing signs that Sark needs his guys out there. And yeah, I mean, we need to prepare for this week. So there's no time for horsing around. Like I think everything that we're seeing is because those guys are anticipating to play this weekend. So I do not think the Arch Manning practice reports are a decoy. I do not think Matthew Caldwell will be starting this weekend because there is no margin for error. It's got to be full steam ahead. I think even Michael Taft, seeing him practicing this early too, is just a clear sign that everything is still full go. Like I said, there's no more horsing around. Everything that we're seeing is because they're going to play this weekend.
Okay, so you might have just answered my second one here. Michael Taft, practicing decoy or not?
Not a decoy. There's no reason to try out a guy practicing less than a week after, or a little bit over a week after surgery to your freaking thumb. Like there's just no way. Like you trot him out there. That's just
this. Michael Taft with the club is going to be electric on Saturday. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, that's
okay. So we have two more questions. You might have seen this on Saturday, AJ. People decided to break the news Saturday morning, and not people. In specific, it's Diana Rossini from ESPN. decided to break the news that Sark is interested in the Tennessee Titans job, and his team has put out there that he's willing to move to the NFL. Is that a decoy or not?
Hey, Zach, you know what? Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's when I saw it originally come out and Sark kind of shut everything down, I was like, all right, it's probably not true. But then I saw some reports about that information coming from his ex-wife, I don't know, current girlfriend, I don't know, from L'Oreal Sarkeesian, basically.
Yeah.
Where she's the one that leaked out that information, and yeah, I mean that's a pretty close source, Zach. Once you get the I guess the significant other involved. Like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. And you can tell Sark has visibly been frustrated with this season, given how much negative feedback he's gotten from the media, from fans, from the team. You can kind of sense a little bit of frustration coming from him. And, it could be enough to run someone out of a job. I don't know. I don't think Sark is like that, but it could be getting to that point. Who knows?
I don't see it happening within these next 3 years, to be completely honest with you, AJ, just for the fact of what he has lined up in terms of quarterbacks ready to come to Austin. I think obviously this year hasn't gone to what everybody thought it was going to be with Arch, but what he has lined up, I do think he has a strong foundation. And I think until the year he sees a little bit of doubts in terms of recruiting, I think that's where it stops. I will say, and this is my opinion here on this one, and I'll make it short, that I see the era where coaches stayed in a place for 20 plus years, 15 plus years is dying. And I strictly believe that is because the NIL, I'm not against the NIL, but for whatever reason, for any means, but going back to our conversation last week, AJ, and Sark possibly wanting to give up the play calling, I think it may be in his best interest, is the amount of work that these coaches are putting in. They are far and away putting more work than NFL coaches, to be completely honest with you. They are not just in the field. They are not just in team practices. They are traveling on the weeks to go and visit recruits. They are watching film of recruits. They are going to booster club meetings. They're at fundraisers. They're there in president board meetings. They are a CEO as well as a head coach, as well, in Sark's case, an offensive coordinator. It is a lot to maintain, especially to recruit at the level that Sark is recruiting at Texas. And I can firmly believe, as you said, AJ, is burnout, to be completely honest with you. And I wouldn't blame him if he is burning out. So that is something, as you said, I agree with you on that, and AJ, where there is smoke, there's fire. And I don't completely believe that is a decoy. I do think there might be some truth.
Yeah. I know. And yeah, it's just like the worst part about it is, when you're a head coach for a college football team, you also have to be a GM too because of NIL now. And I think being a GM is very tough. So yeah. Adding that to your head coaching duties is tough. Anyway.
All right. Last question here in terms of decoy or not, AJ. A little bit of a fun one. So yesterday when the injury report came out, another viral picture came out, AJ. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I want to get your opinion. Do you think the Sydney Sweeney dress from last night on the runway was a decoy or not from us seeing the injury report?
Yeah, that got everybody. Yes, it was a decoy. Yes, it was mainstream media once again taking away our priorities. I can't believe they did that to us. I hope they don't do that to us again, because that was awesome. Yeah, what a
what a day for America to flex. I mean, the Russians are telling us that they're just testing their nuclear bombs, and I was like, here's 2 nukes for you. So that's what we have going on there. But yeah, AJ, it was definitely a decoy because I was trying to go and follow the injury report, and I clicked on one picture, and the rest of my timeline was flooded. So just 100% a decoy.
Great decision. Yeah, AI couldn't recreate those. Yeah, AI can recreate it. I won't get it.
Russia can do all of the research and all of the creations. They're not going to do that.
Yeah. Talk about a front porch, huh?
I would love to kick it with the boys on that front porch. All right. So we'll go ahead and kick it over to our offensive player, defensive player for the game score predictions, AJ. So take us away there. But thank you for playing.
All right. Yes, thank you. Thank you for including that, Zach. I like that a lot. Real quick, Zach, I'm going to set the stage just to to give you just real quick one quick fun fact. Do you know when was the last time Vanderbilt has played in Austin?
Oh, that's a good question. No, I do
I'll,
not.
I'll, I'll,
Can I guess?
yeah, I'm setting the line at 120 years.
Oh, in that case, I'm just gonna take over. I feel like you know something.
Yeah, it's been 122 years.
Wow.
Sorry, did I say? Yeah, I said 125. Right? Sorry about that. It's been 122 years since the last time Vanderbilt has played in Austin, Texas. They've played, or they've played later than that, but for some reason, per my sources, it's showing that every game has been played in Dallas. Don't know why. But yeah, that one time they played in Austin, Zach, can you guess what the score was? Think more along the lines of World Series scores this year.
Oh, I don't know, like 7-0, 7-3.
Yeah, 5-5. They tied in 1903.
What?
The last time they played in. Yeah, I don't understand it either, but yeah, they must have been running the wishbone a lot that year, both teams. So yeah, times have changed, and yeah, obviously last matchup goes to last year where Texas won in Nashville, 27-24. Although the score kind of doesn't paint the full picture, but anyway, so Texas 3.5 point favorites. The point total is set at 45.5. I believe you can get it at 46.5 on some other books, but yeah, as for my offensive player of the game, Zach, I'm gonna go with Emmett Mosley. I feel like the breakout just happened, and I'm ready for the floodgates to go out. I'm tired of all this, Parker Livingston, Ryan Wingo propaganda. I'm ready to die on that hill that Emmett Mosley is the best pass catcher on this team, and I think we're starting to see that similar to Matthew Golden last year, where he just erupted after. That was actually during like the Vanderbilt game. That's when he started. That's when he started balling out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Evan Mosley. I believe in him, and yeah, for him to make that catch last game, loved it. Right in front of Brandon Walker, Zach. Oh, can't tell you how much that moment means to me. But yeah, I'm gonna ride with my guy, EM5.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that enough, AJ. That moment in particular is that's etched in stone. That has to be the greatest fucking. Apologies for even cursing there, but that's how excited it gets me. It had to be the greatest moment in just karma history, because Brandon, you talked about the players throwing down the horns down throughout the field. Brandon Walker was running up and down that field throughout the entire game, sticking out his arms like he owned the place, throwing his horns down, and it could not have happened to a worse guy, to be completely honest with you. You saw the soul leave his body, and I absolutely loved every single second, every single angle that came from it. Yeah, beautiful throw, beautiful catch, and just beautiful.
Yeah, honestly, one thing that did make me laugh though is like on that montage that he posted after, and like Mosley makes the catch and he like slides right by him, and then he looks around. He's like, he might have caught it, right? I guess he might have caught it.
So I will say that, yeah, credit I guess has to be given there, because I don't know, like I am one of those fans that are like, nah, he didn't catch it. Like there's no way. There wasn't enough possession. Like that would have been me, and he was able to just be in the moment and realize that, yeah, he just witnessed his death. He looks over at the camera and is like, you might have caught that, right? And his other friend that he turns around and looks at is just like shaking his head like, yeah, they all knew it was. What I also found funny, and I was like, maybe he isn't the worst guy in the world, was when Emmett Mosley comes back and he's clapping his hands, and I don't know if he was doing it sarcastically. If he was, then but he's clapping his hands and he was like, damn good try. It was like a dad on the sidelines of just sportsmanship modeling. So yeah, it just made it for the funniest videos and clips. Honestly.
Yeah, dude. He was like, he wanted to be in denial so bad, but he couldn't. And I don't know. That was funny. I love that.
Yeah, that was awesome. So thank you very much for bringing that, because we didn't talk about it, but that was honestly second to us winning the game and coming back was probably the headline and takeaway of the game.
Yeah.
I will also be going with the wide receiver, though. AJ, switching back to this week in terms of my offensive player of the game, I'm going to look to Ryan Wingo. He has been breaking out. They've been hitting on the deep ball. He's been showing off his speed there on the first play of the game on the screen pass. I'm looking for him to not have any drops this week. I think that's the next part of his game. He just needs to be that consistent force. Because completely honest with you, AJ, who knows what this season looks like if Ryan Wingo catches every ball that's been thrown to him.
Oh my God! Yes,
I know it was a bad throw against Ohio State from Arch Manning, but he still could have caught that ball. That allows that drive to keep going at the end of the game. Who knows if we end up tying that game? What happens there? The outlook on our season could look very different if Ryan Wingo has caught every pass that's been thrown to him. He's had some big drops, including this week against Mississippi State. We did have to settle for a field goal because he ends up dropping a slant route there in the red zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking for him to just keep making those big plays, but also to be a little bit more reliable there and limit, if not just eliminate those drop passes.
Yeah. If I'm Chris Jackson this past week, our wide receivers coach, I would have put Ryan Wingo on the jugs machine for like 4 hours a day, just having the diamond up, Zach, because he cannot make a catch like this. Everything's got to be pinkies, nothing in the diamonds, and I just hope he was grinding on the jugs machine because there is no reason to be missing any of the throws that he's dropped. Not even last game, but previous games.
Yeah, I need to see him on the Sydney Sweeney machine. So let's get him on it.
Yeah, big jugs. We got to see those. All right, defensive player of the game, Zach. We kind of preluded to this earlier, but I think Texas defense does a great job stopping the run. We will see a few tackles for losses. It'll kind of be spread. This is how I'm picturing it, by the way, where a lot of our defense gets a lot of tackles for losses. They're kind of spread out. Ethan Burke's going to get his. Hero Canu's going to get his. Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, you name it. What is that going to do? Force Vanderbilt to throw the deep ball especially. They're going to wait to see what exactly happens. Who's the best deep ball coverage player? In my opinion, right now it's Manny Muhammad. So I can picture him getting an interception or just playing absolutely lockdown coverage on whoever decides to try him. So I'm going to go with Manny Muhammad this game. I think Grayson Littleton is also bound for a rebound game too. So I expect to see our DBs feasting a little bit for this game. Please, I just want us to pick off Pavia.
Yeah, I want that as well, AJ. But the other thing I really want is to see Colin Simmons standing over Diego Pavia multiple times throughout the game. I honestly, even if he gets, I don't want him to get a flag in the first half, but maybe in the second half when this game is put away, I even want to see a flag. I want to see like those clips that I've seen of him in high school where he was just kind of teabagging his opponent. That's what I want to see here against Diego Pavia. I would not mind that type of fact here just because of the person that Diego Pavia is. But yeah, my defense player of the game in that statement is going to be Colin Simmons. I'm hoping he puts pressure. I'm hoping he collapses the pocket quite frequently and forces those mistakes that you're looking for from Diego Pavia in that matter. But AJ, something that when you were talking about that did resonate with me is who, and I'm trying to think back in games, who usually picks up, and it's because we haven't really played a top quality tight end, so that's why it hasn't stuck out. But who really picks up the tight ends on our secondary? Because that also might be the player of the game. And you mentioned Littleton, but he is a smaller defender and he plays a star. So I find it difficult that he might, but maybe he will. But if we're talking about Stowers being their leading wide receiver, he's more of that possession type of wide receiver as well for Pavia, where they're looking for a first down in that medium to long range third down situation. He will look there. So I could definitely see that. That player, whoever picks up Stowers, is going to be and maybe it's like a zone coverage. Maybe we see Ant Hill drop back into coverage and get another interception because we did see one like that earlier in the year on the sideline. So I would also look for that player, whoever is on Stowers or who has that assignment most throughout the night to have a big game as well.
Yeah, Zach, I don't think you're going to like hearing this, but the player I've seen usually do that is either Jalen Gilbo because he's in the star or Leona Lafau. He's usually dropping back in coverage. And those are not our favorite guys, but I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna take the yardage prop on Stowers then.
Yeah, please. If it's at 60, just take the over. It's a lock.
I'm taking it now.
Yeah, get him for an anytime touchdown too. Might as well. But yeah, loving the Colin Simmons pick. I could go for a nice nut drag over Diego Pavia. He did that I think at Kentucky, so would like to see that come back. All right, ZT, I'll let you start off our score prediction as well.
Yeah, AJ. I'm gonna take 27-17. I do have our Texas Longhorns covering. I do stick on the side that our offense opens up just a little bit, just building off of last week. I do think Vanderbilt does have a good defense. I do think we're able to wear on them though. And again, I do hope to see us utilize that wide receiver room that's showed out in the fourth quarter with Mosley, with Livingston, and with Ryan Wingo. So give me 27-17.
Okay. Pretty similar to last year's score. I'm going to go with 28-21, Zach. I think this is going to be a touchdown game, and I'm kind of just using my basis off where the line is for the point total. I think it's going to be 28-21. That line just keeps creeping up for some reason. I think it's going to be – I thought it was going to be a low-scoring affair, but for it to climb from, I believe, 43.5 to almost – I think it's at 46.5 right now. Like, I don't know. I can kind of see some points being thrown around. But yeah, I think Texas wins by a touchdown. Our defense comes through, and like I said, this Vanderbilt offense becomes very one-dimensional once we stop the run, which is our specialty. So yeah, I can see our guys squeaking away with a touchdown and a top 10 win.
Yep, I will take it, AJ. As you said, every week is the biggest week at this point in time. We are already firmly in playoff mode, so that does benefit this team. We play desperate, we play hungry, so I'm expecting that type of outcome here on Saturday.
Yep, and walking away. I mean, just as long, whatever it takes to come away with the victory, Zach. That's all. That's all I really care about. All right, so let's just say Texas does win this game. They bring in a top 10 win heading into the bye, Zach. They're 7-2. All they have to do is win out. But there's a good possibility that we drop one of those games, and I think we're all kind of anticipating the Georgia game is where we may fall short. But Zach, one thing I kind of saw on social media earlier this week is the fear that SEC teams should have with the ACC having multiple 11-1 teams. So right now, I believe there is 5 SEC teams with 1 loss, and everything's kind of tracking to where there may be 3 teams going 9-3 to finish the season, and I think those 3 teams are Tennessee, Texas, and OU. And so you would anticipate only one of those make it through. But then you're looking at the ACC, Zach, and you have the possibility of Miami going 11-1. You have Louisville going 11-1. If you want to get that deep, Virginia going 11-1, and it seems like everything's tracking to where a 11-1 team might miss their own ACC championship. And what that does is that opens the door. Well, are you going to kick out the SEC or the ACC champion runner-up and penalize them for losing the championship game? So it's like if you're going to include the third team, you got to include the first and second team. And I think a 3-bit ACT kind of throws off everything. It doesn't allow the SEC to maybe throw up 4 or 5 teams in the college football playoff. But yeah, I wanted to get your take on that, Zach. Like, just the resumes alone, Texas will walk away with 3 top 10 wins if they do win this Saturday, and they beat A&M. While 2 out of the 3, maybe even all 3 ACC teams won't even have 2 top 10 wins. So it's like where does that kind of what kind of I guess stance do you have on that? I'm a little worried.
Yeah, no. As you said, it definitely has to be the biggest fear for the SEC. I do think the SEC gets the benefit of the doubt in 2 loss situations. To have 3 one-loss teams, it's quite difficult to say that the SEC schedule accounts for us surpassing that, to be completely honest with you, which I think it does, but it's difficult to put it on paper to see 3 versus 1 and think that you're going to get in over that. What I will say is that I do think we'll end up with a 1-loss team, a 2-loss team, and a 3-loss team from ACC. I do think there is going to be a little bit of chaos there at the end. I do think the team that ends up with 3 losses more than likely is going to be Virginia. They've been on. If we talk about Texas being on the ropes these past couple of weeks, Virginia has firmly been on the ropes these past couple of weeks. even including a game against North Carolina. So that's something that I'm seeing. SMU and Miami this week is not an easy win for Miami whatsoever. I do think SMU can keep that game close. I still am not very high on Miami. Louisville has some tricky situations as well. I mean, even Virginia this upcoming week, to be honest, to have to travel to West Coast, it's not easy for any of these ACC teams. We've seen them all struggle, whether it's against Stanford, when we've seen them against, California for that matter. California is not a bad team this year as well. So yeah, tricky situations. I will say that, yeah, that is a very scary scenario. But I do think it plays itself out that the SEC does get the benefit of the doubt, because I do think at the end of the day, there will only be a one-loss team from the ACC, or if not a two-loss team, to be honest, because I do see Georgia Tech losing to Georgia. And then I could see them firmly losing to, say, Miami in the ACC championship game, where they do have 2 losses. And Miami goes into that game also with 2 losses for, say, or they lose that game in the playoff or the championship as well. So I do think there's a situation that we see 2 ACC teams. I will say that's a 75% chance. I think it's like a 50-50 if we see 3 ACC teams. The point I wanted to talk about that you mentioned was the Oklahoma-Tennessee game. Oklahoma-Tennessee, in terms of also potentially being a 3-loss team, such in comparison to us. I do think this week is a firm playoff eliminator in 2 instances. In our game against Vanderbilt, people say that Vanderbilt can survive a loss against us. I do not believe so. As you said, AJ, I don't think so either. Those wins against LSU are going to weight anything anymore at the end of the year. That Missouri game is already looking rough. Missouri drops one more game throughout the rest of the year. That is not going to hold any weight, and you lose against a third opponent in Texas. I just don't see it carrying any weight, to be completely honest with you. So I think this is a playoff eliminator. Again, us as well. We cannot lose another game, especially a game against Vanderbilt. So I think this is a playoff eliminator. And the other one is Tennessee and Oklahoma. I firmly believe that is a playoff eliminator as well. That would give Oklahoma the 3rd loss. Same thing with Tennessee. Both haven't looked great in multiple instances. So yeah, I think that's another playoff eliminator on that one.
Okay. So you're on the side that a 9-3 SEC team has priority over an 11-1 or even 10-2 ACC team.
11-1 is tough. I'm going to say they have a priority over 10-2 team. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just looking at the way how the schedule's playing out, Zach, and it's like it's possible that there's 4 11-1 ACC teams, and yeah, it's like. I think things are going to play itself out. We'll be okay. But it's curious to think about and just kind of see. But yeah, I do agree with you.
I don't think that we can survive a Georgia loss or even an A&M loss. I do think it is firmly win out, because there is no shot. That Florida loss cost you everything. Like, I do think you could scratch the Ohio State. You lost by 7 against the number 1 team in the nation on the road. You could scratch that, but a loss against Florida you just can't have, and that's what we have. So I do think we are firmly against the ropes. As you said, the other conference to be wary of, AJ, is the Big 12. Like, there is still room for chaos 100%. There is tough matchups, but you also have some one-loss teams in there that can remain one-loss teams or be undefeated. Is BYU undefeated? Yeah, BYU is undefeated, remain undefeated. So, yeah, in the SEC, you have BYU undefeated. You have Cincinnati at 1 loss, Texas Tech at 1 loss, and Houston at 1 loss. Yeah, that one's a tricky situation. You still have Utah creeping around at 2 losses. They have Cincinnati at home this week, so that could be another top 25 victory for them. So Big 12, I do think the SEC far and away gets the benefit of the doubt against the Big 12, but you have some creepers in there as well.
Yeah, I think with the way things are playing out, Big 12 might be a 2-bid conference, which worries me, because they might have priority over a 9-3 SEC team. Because last year, I believe both Big 12 championship teams had 2 losses. So
yeah, they had 2 losses.
I don't know. It's like it's a little bit different this year, because you can have undefeated BYU make it, play Texas Tech. Texas Tech beats BYU in the championship, and you still got to admit both teams. So yeah, it's very chaotic right now, but I think things are gonna
Well, you have BYU and
Eventually
Texas Tech in a couple weeks, actually, so they'll face each other in the regular season.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. Well,
but
they'll eliminate.
like if Cincinnati wins this week, for say, I don't know. I do think, if Cincinnati wins this week and say BYU wins against Texas Tech and stays undefeated, like you are looking at a situation where Cincinnati goes into the Big 12 championship, beats BYU, and at that point in time, you have two Big 12 teams. So, it is a little scary when you look at it that way.
Yeah. Speaking of Cincinnati, actually, Zach, has your friend Dominic shaved his head yet?
He has not, AJ. He has not made his appointment yet.
He must be looking at the Sydney Sweeney picture still. We got to get on top of him for that. Yeah, he's been decoyed for sure. All right, Zach. Any other closing remarks?
Well, one certainty that I have going into the playoff, AJ, I think we can firmly say that the Big Ten is going to have 3 teams.
Yeah.
And I think it all comes down to like which of the 3 teams it's going to be. I think it all comes down to does Iowa beat or who wins, Iowa or Oregon in 2 weeks. If Iowa wins that game, I think they end up winning out the rest of the season and they get in, to be completely honest with you. If they don't, Oregon just picks up another top 25. Oregon. And I think that's the most realistic possibility. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Iowa, are they playing in Iowa? Are they playing in Des Moines against Oregon?
They are playing in Iowa. Yeah.
Ooh, okay, that's sneaky, but yeah, Indiana, Ohio State, lock them in. They don't want they're just playing cupcakes from now on. But yeah, if Iowa's able to sneak something in, that'll be interesting to look at. You would assume Oregon's out. But yeah, I mean, Iowa's got a little bit of a squad this year. They're not. I mean, they only lost to Indiana by 5. In reality, 7. But yeah,
they hung in all the way until the end.
Yeah, exactly. They're a team to reckon with. That's for sure.
On offense this year, AJ, they have 30. They put up 37 against Wisconsin, which I know is terrible, but they put up against Wisconsin. And they just put up 41 against Minnesota, who isn't terrible this year. So yeah.
Yeah. Iowa is now Texas football. We switched.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Big Ten for sure. 3 teams locked, without a doubt.
Yep.
Maybe even 4 if you want to get into it. But yeah, those college football playoff scenarios, they're crazy. But all right, Zach, what do you say we get into our Week 10 picks, and then I'll close this out with some basketball news, basketball and NFL news.
Let's do it.
All right. I'll go ahead and give my picks first. So I'm sticking with it, guys. I know on my notes I have it as 3.5, but give me Texas to cover this weekend. Texas, they've only lost in, I believe, 2 games. They've only lost 2 games, having the 11 o'clock slot at home, and I believe 1 loss was to Alabama. So Texas historically performs well at the 11 o'clock games. Again, we're going to have Arch Manning back. Don't worry. And if for some reason he doesn't, I will shave my head. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to stick to that. But yeah, give me Texas to win. We gave you the analysis, and I think they're going to cover their 3.5 point spread. And our score predictions also back that up. Next game I'm going to go to, and Zach, you alluded to this, but I do not have any confidence in a team that has to travel across the nation against a somewhat decent team, and that is Virginia traveling to Cal. I'm going to take Cal to cover this game, 4.5, even possibly win this. Cal has shown their potential this season, and Virginia, past 3 games, they've had to squeak out wins through overtime. So, yeah, give me the Golden Bears to win this game. But for the sake of the spread purposes, cover 4.5. And then last game, one of the toilet bowls of this week, Zach, that is Arkansas and Mississippi State. I'm going to take the over 67.5 points. Arkansas just shows week in, week out they're able to score points against bad defenses. Mississippi State also able to do the same. We'll omit last week's results, but yeah, Mississippi State able to score points when they need to, and Arkansas has a very vulnerable defense. So 67.5 actually feels low at this point, or feels pretty low for this game, but I'm going to trust it. I think it's going to go over.
Yeah, for all of those people, AJ, that don't believe the SEC has turned into the Big 12, seeing a 67.5 over under in the SEC, I never thought I'd see the day. So
Yeah.
I like that pick. I might even tune into that game just because it does seem like a classic Big 12 game.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I like the picks, AJ. I talked about Cal there as well. I think the only thing that Virginia has going for them is that they don't have to play at night. It's a 2:30 game, so it's not.
Oh, is it really?
It's not like they'll be playing at midnight their time when they have to play a night game over there in Cal. So that is one break they get, but I still firmly believe that it's still a massive struggle to have to play across country, like you said.
Yeah. It's a 3-hour swing for them. Oh, I'll bet on that.
Yeah. But great picks, AJ. In terms of my picks, I'm gonna go down into the Big Ten here. I'm going to take Ohio State minus 20.5 against Penn State. I just think Ohio State's defense will carry them to this victory. Penn State has nothing to offer on offense. And Ohio State's defense probably accounts for one of these scores. And then they do just enough with the playmakers they have on offense to cover this spread. I never thought I'd say the day. But obviously with the season, how it's gone for Penn State, yeah, the spread seems appropriate, and I see Ohio State covering minus 20.5. And then I'm going to go to another game that we recently talked about, Cincinnati against Utah. The only bad thing about this is Cincinnati has to play in Utah at night. That is one of the rules I've always had for myself is don't bet this game. But I really like Cincinnati this year, AJ. I do hope that they represent the Big 12 in the playoff, if anybody does, or obviously somebody will, but I hope it is going to be Cincinnati. They're getting 10 points this week, so I'm going to take Cincinnati plus 10 at Utah. I think Brendan Sorsby just does enough to be able to at least hang in this game, if not win this game. So give me Cincinnati. And then another Big 12 game for my third pick. I'm going to take Texas Tech and Kansas State to cover over 52.5. Kansas State has woken up a little bit in recent weeks. And woken up more in terms of offense. They do have some dynamic playmakers. Texas Tech has shown to be susceptible on defense, but they are very good on offense. I do think they get Morton back this week as well. So that's a boost for their offense. So I'm going to see this game going over 52.5.
Okay. Yeah, that quarterback room is just depleted for Texas Tech. It's crazy, but Zach, I like the Cincy play. I don't understand how you give Cincinnati that much points, and Utah. I know they're historically good at home, especially night games, but yeah, I just don't see how the spread is that big for that game.
Yeah, I've seen Utah struggle just too many times on offense, to be completely honest with you, that I can't see, even if Cincinnati does struggle on offense because of the situation that they're in terms of a night game at Utah. I can't see them struggling to the point where they can't keep it within 10 points because Utah's offense struggles just as much.
Yeah. Safe to say you're a Brendan Soares bro?
I am a Brendan Soares bro. I think I find myself playing him like on a weekly basis in DFS.
Yeah, he's a baller. I like him a lot. All right, so that is our Week 10 picks against the spread. Zach, it pains me just to look at the number of weeks we're on because that just means college football's the regular season's almost over.
Yep.
And yeah, we're already in November, starting on Saturday. So that sucks to see, but yeah, I'm liking our picks so far. I think everything's looking good. Any closing statements before I just run through the basketball lineup real quick?
No, take us over to the hardwood, AJ.
All right, so we have some basketball updates, Zach. Texas will be taking on Duke to open their season for the Dick Vitale Invitational presented by Belk. This game will be played in Charlotte, North Carolina. Kind of a home court advantage for Duke in this case. Duke coming in as the fifth ranked team per the AP poll. And this is the typical Duke team that brings in a stud player that their father is a former NBA player. In this case, the Boozer, I don't know his first name, the Boozer kid, but he's looking really good. Texas is looking to play some solid defense against him. So we'll watch that. But I'm going to run through the roster real quick, Zach, because we do have some newcomers as well as some players that have stayed. So as far as returning players, we're pretty much bringing in our entire our backcourt, and that is Jordan Pope, Kendall Weaver, Tremont Mark, and then we're also bringing back Nick Cody. So some of our players from last year who will be here. Colbot, if you want to count him to walk on player, doesn't really matter. But yeah, typical Sean Miller team though, Zach, where he dips into the transfer portal for players that are overseas, especially recruiting players that are overseas. And for this roster, he's bringing in 3 freshmen, one ranked in the top 100 per 24/7 Sports, and that is John Clark. He is a power forward from Link Academy in Branson, Missouri. Haven't really seen too much film on him or like really much highlights on him, but what I have heard is that he's a very big-bodied player that's able to score in the paint, and I think that's what we need, given that we have a lot of depth with our guards. Louis Obiora, Zach, he is from London, England. Again, like I said, Sean Miller just loves he just loves international players for some reason. So we'll bring it in. He is currently rated as a 3-star, 7'1" center, Zach. He's huge. So yeah, I can't remember the last time Texas had a 7-footer on their team, but we have 2, and I'll allude to the next one later. Next player, Zach Declan Duru. He is from Germany. He is a 6'8" power forward. From what I've heard of this guy, he's kind of similar to I can't remember his name, but Arizona's player last year. He's big, lanky. Damn, I can't remember his name, and it's blanking on me. It's gonna kill me. But yeah, he's very athletic, power forward, can play center as well, and we'll see what kind of impact he makes. Again, he is a freshman. As far as the transfer portal, Zach, Sean Miller has also dipped into that, and he's brought in Simeon Wilcher, who is a point guard from St. Joe's, Lucina Traore, who was from Xavier. He was actually one of Xavier's top players, and yeah, wasn't rated out of high school, but after the transfer portal, came across as a 4-star with a 92 ranking on 24/7 Sports. I'm excited to see him. I would like to see him start. He is 6'10", 245 pounds, so he's got a big body to him. Very good shooter. I saw a lot of his shots being taken from the elbow, so yeah, it's nice to see that mid range. We're also bringing in Matas Vokititis. He is a 7-footer from FAU. He was one of the backups to Florida Atlantic's Vlad Golden when he was there. So yeah, just adding some height, and yeah, Sean Miller. He loves tall players that are also overseas, and yeah, that's where Matas is from, Greece, Europe. Another player that I'm excited that we're bringing in, Zach, Camden Heidi. He is a transfer from Purdue. He is a 6'7" power forward, one of the starters for Purdue's team last year, who I believe went to the Sweet 16, if I remember correctly. So again, that veteran presence that this team needs. It's once again, hopefully it pays off, because and he's a good shooter too. So excited for that. And then last player, Zach Dalen Swain. He is a 6'8" small forward from Xavier. Again, he played with Lucina Traore. And yeah, I haven't really seen too much on this guy, but he can be a viable starter, and I do like his ceiling. Very good for the mid range as well, and yeah, can shoot the 3 ball a little bit. So yeah, that's pretty much a quick roster rundown of the team. One question I had for you, Zach, is if you saw what Sean Miller said, and if that provides any confidence for this season, the season's opener against Duke. And I can reiterate it after.
That was going to be. I was actually going to ask you that question, AJ. So I'm glad we were on the same page there. I was going to ask you one last question on decoy or not. I do not believe that statement was a decoy, though. I apologize. I do think Dom texts that he's joking. I do think he firmly believes that. Let me go ahead and read the statement before I go ahead and do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Recap. Yeah.
Okay, so this is part of the Duke preview today, Zach, on the press's Zoom call with him. And he said, Sean Miller, head coach, said, "There's a side of me that wakes up in the morning and says, why in the world are we playing Duke? There are a lot of other coaches out there, but we're going to take on the challenge."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that some people like Dom were saying that he was joking. I don't think that he fears them like God, like if they're God. Don't believe that whatsoever. I do think he believes in his staff and his team, but I firmly believe that he wishes we were not facing Duke in the first game of the season. You touched on it a little bit, AJ. Duke has Cameron Boozer. That was the first name there that you were looking for. Carlos Boozer's son. He has looked absolutely tremendous in like the exhibition games that they've been able to show on his highlights. It's going to be a tough matchup there, and of course, just the prowess of Duke coming off a national championship runner-up season. I don't think anybody wishes to have to face them, especially, I mean, as you said, AJ, pretty much a home game for Duke. I don't think anybody wishes that for their first, not just the first game of the season, but their first game as head coach at a new university. So, yeah, I don't see it as a reflection of what he's expecting for the rest of the season, but I do believe that he believes, or that he firmly stands by the fact that he just wishes he wasn't facing Duke.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new team. I mean, I don't know if you want to knock their confidence that much by playing Duke, but I mean, there's some truth to that. But I mean, I think it just would have been better if he just said, we're excited for this opportunity. Duke's a really good program. Just the usual coach speak PR response.
Yeah,
I would have been happy with that.
Yeah, and I do believe there was also a little humor behind it. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that I never have to see John Terry in a burnt orange shirt or representing the Longhorns again. So I'm fine with that. AJ, you touched on it, and I wanted to touch on that. Sean Miller has to be in the Mount Rushmore top 3 in the nation in terms of people that are happy that tariffs are going away, because he just imports players like crazy. And you're right about that. And we're going to see that this year, and we're going to see that in years going forward. AJ, were you, in terms of player that you were talking about in Arizona, were you talking about Carter Bryant by any chance?
No, not Carter Bryant.
Townsend, Del Orso.
No, not Awaka. I believe he was a player.
Bizarre. I don't know. Those are the names that were coming to me, but anyways, yeah, I do think that this is going to be a tournament run team. I do think we firmly will be in the field of 64 at the end of the year. We have a lot of experience, as you talked about, AJ, experience from players that have also played in tournament, experience from players that know the expectations of Sean Miller and his staff, coming from Xavier, and are able to share that with the rest of our players. And then we also have young talent as well. So I'm excited for a new beginning. I'm excited to see them against top quality talents in Duke on Tuesday night. So we'll see where it goes, AJ. It's definitely the most optimistic I've been in a couple of years since obviously we had the departure of that coach.
Yeah.
That decided to participate in stuff that we do not condone.
Yeah, we do not condone under any circumstance. But yeah, I am optimistic too, Zach. This feels very reminiscent of the first year about that coach that shall not be named, where you're just bringing in transfers, bringing in guys that are like gadget guys, culture guys, and yeah, just getting a foundation going. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that too. Yep.
Good little preview there, AJ.
Yeah, we'll be previewing a little bit more of the game next week, as it's on Thursday, November 4th. We hope y'all are tuning in, and if y'all are traveling, have fun for us. That sounds like a lot of fun. But yeah, we're excited for the opening game this season, as well as the women's team, who will be opening up the following day on the 5th against Incarnate Word at the Moody Center. So we hope y'all are there for that game. But yeah, that's pretty much the preview to the Hardwood Talk this season. We have our hands full. A couple weeks.
Yep. It's the sports equinox, AJ, October, November.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But before we close out the episode, Zach, got to give a shout-outs to Jahdae Barron. Got his first interception against the interception machine himself, Dak Prescott. Picked him off, I believe, before halftime. Kind of shut down that Cowboys drive. Looked pretty good. And then Gunnar Helm did his best celebration on National Tight Ends Day by catching his first touchdown of the year himself. Seems to be a safety blanket for Cameron Ward. It seems like, I don't know. I could see a Chico Okonkwo trade happening at the end of the season, Zach.
Yeah, the Gunnar Helm has definitely found a spot there. I do think he has a bright future there. I hope they're able to figure out that offense so that he can really shine. Because boy, I mean, AJ, it seems like anytime you turn on the games on Sunday, Titans are already down 10-0, and it's only been
Yeah.
about 5 minutes into the game. So hopefully they figure it out there, and there's a little bit of a turnaround in that franchise so that Gunnar Helm can shine. But yeah, shout out to Jahdae Barron, still doing it for the Denver Longhorns over there. And unfortunately, this week was against the Cowboys. So
Yeah, they're looking good. Omar Ballo, that's the person I was looking for.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if you remember him.
yeah, no, was he still there last year?
I don't think he was. But he was one of Sean Miller's guys.
Yeah, he was there a couple of years ago for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to. Sorry, I had to look on that. But yeah, shout out to other Longhorns. T'Vondre Sweat was in the media earlier today, speaking on the perfect prototype for an NFL quarterback, and he said his was Justin Herbert. Thank you for that, T'Vondre Sweat. But other than that, Zach, I don't know if I'm missing anything else for Longhorns in the NFL.
No, yeah, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head there this week, AJ.
All right. Alrighty then. So that concludes our episode 10. This one's a little longer than our usual episodes, but again, we had to cover everything, especially basketball. And just give you all our takes on the Mississippi State game and the Vanderbilt game this upcoming weekend. We hope you all are able to enjoy another college football Saturday. No one has it better than us. And let's watch this game so we can just hate watch the following weekend, Zach, because this team has had me stressed out to the max the past 3 weekends and past 4 weekends if you want to get that deep. But I'm ready for that. But yeah, hope you all are watching volleyball. Hope you all have a good weekend. Zach, safe travels to El Paso. Wish Dana a happy belated birthday for me, and we'll see you all next week for episode 11. Welcome.